Puppies.
Oh, buddy, what's going on, everyone? Jerome here along with TEWTIY, Matt, and Steve, and welcome back to an episode of Finish the Story. Today, we're going to be hopping on, and things are going to get a little wild and crazy, but for those of you who have never joined us before, the way we play this game is, well, really simple. Pretty much it starts off with one person who begins the story. As for instance, Steve might say something like, there once was a cat named John, and then it would go over to me, and I'd be like, now, John was a magical cat who had superpowers like the ability to fly. And then TEWTIY, if he's not able to add on to that, and let's say he goes, and then Tom, then TEWTIY doesn't get to move up. But whenever you continue the story, you keep on moving up and up and up until finally you reach the end of it. Now, if someone messes up, the next person in line can either continue the story or start a brand new one, and that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed, then at any point in time, be sure you hit that like button, subscribe as well if you're new, and of course, because of Steve's poor performance in the first time, we threw him all the way over here, so he's a little bit further away from us. So, wait, why is everyone wearing Baka? I literally just realized this. Is that bad? I swear, I just glossed over that.
We've had these on for at least 20 minutes, Jerome.
Now, you have no idea how creeped out I'd be if I F5 and I was wearing, like, Steve's head. TEWTIY had a big forehead, and the forehead shot out lasers.
But, luckily to him, that was TEWTIY's favorite superpower, and he flew around the city, fighting crime and able to stop anything. He even owned his own bakery, which he made muffins with.
But the muffins were made with his lasers because his lasers were actually sugar lasers, and that's why he won. He killed the enemies with sweetness. And then a local newspaper ad picked up his story and wrote
about how TEWTIY once donated 16 muffins to children in need.
The only problem was these weren't any ordinary muffins. These muffins had superpowers instilled in them by the sugar lasers. So all the kids ended up getting some weird superpowers, such as
the ability to eat muffins more than the average person. So unfortunately, they just ate lots and lots of muffins. Everyone said it was a superpower, but some people said it was a problem.
And a problem it was, because soon they ran into a muffin deficit. TEWTIY couldn't keep up with the demand. The more they ate muffins, the more they needed. And soon, everything got crazy, and suddenly...
What? So Steve doesn't get a point there. Alright, I'm gonna continue the story. With the muffin economy in shambles, people started to go rabid. The problem was, those kids that actually got to eat all those muffins and gained the superpower to eat more muffins continued to eat more superpowered muffins. So they kept acquiring newer superpowers until at one point they were as strong as Shrek.
Unfortunately, this plummeted the world into chaos. It was 16 ultra-powerful children who could destroy humanity with a single blow, eating all the muffins in the world. No muffins were left. Everyone was hopeless. The biggest cities in the world were starting to collapse. The world was on the very edge of
destruction. But that's when Steve noticed they had one kryptonite, and that was gluten. So Jerome
decided to open up his gluten-free muffin shop, and he, that's all I got.
Yeah, so once he opened up the muffin shop, it needed a name. So he went with something familiar. Baka's Bakery sounds about right. And he had a Seti Spaghetti restaurant attached to it on the other side.
Unfortunately, because it was a gluten-free muffin shop, not a single person literally ever showed up to it, and it went out of business the next day.
But luckily... Oh my god, I don't know how to follow up that. Go back.
I'm ending this. I'm starting a new one.
Oh, that's just getting good, Steve.
I'm sorry. I gotta end it. What is a good one?
He even messes up starting his own story. Steve, this is horrible, dude.
Steve, back to the beginning.
I did pretty good. I only messed up one in the last, go around.
Are you guys gonna wear my head the entire video?
Yeah. Yes, of course. Why would we not?
Okay, good. Just making sure.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
The man from Nantucket had 15... Hey, that still counts as the story. So the man from Nantucket had 15...
The man from Nantucket had 15 silver...
What am I doing wrong? No, what am I doing wrong?
Watch me. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So you just, do it.
Yeah, you just do it, Jerome.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Apparently, this man from Nantucket cannot.
No,
make a
Jerome,
jump.
that's not your lane. Jerome, that's not your
Wait,
lane.
is there? Did you guys delete the block? Guys! What are you pranking me or something? Gosh dang it. I thought I was going crazy.
What about this man from Nantucket?
Okay, there's the man from Nantucket who went and tried to find gold nuggets, but unfortunately, all he found was 15 glowing buckets. But unfortunately, he only found
15 golden buckets, but then also he found out the buckets were actually made of paper and they started falling apart and he lost all the glowing ooze. And the glowing ooze started a
glitter factory.
So disregarding that stupid addition to the story,
It's glowing
Steve, this is my story. He then decided to make his own pizza shop, in which he ate lots and lots of pizzas at inappropriate times, like during videos.
Even though he ate pizzas at inappropriate times, the buckets that originally paper fell apart, but he used the paper to create his own paper factory, which he started up, and then, once he created his own paper factory, he was using the paper factory money from that to actually farm his own muffin factory. He grew his own tree of muffins, and then, using those muffins, he got a super secret syringe that had superpowers and injected with them, and then, with those muffins, he gave them to
Steve. But unfortunately, those muffins didn't help how bad Steve was with continuing stories. Steve actually got worse. And suddenly Steve blurted out,
Oh no, I am so bad at this game.
He was so bad at the game that he decided to go to improv lessons. The only problem was that the teacher of the improv lesson was Blade, and we all know how boring Blade can be sometimes.
So, when Steve showed up at the improv site, Blade instructed him that the only way to do improv is with just talking and no improving whatsoever. But unfortunately, that very day, Steve had a very bad cold and he became a mute and he wasn't able to talk at all. But fortunately for him, he had a lot of muffins. So he put all of his muffins down on the ground and he started telling his story through muffins. And he basically is starting to explain the story of Romeo and Juliet through muffins. And it was a very heartfelt and tragic story. And only at the time of the finishing of the story, Blade then said,
"Oh, buddy."
Wait, Blade?
nah!
All right, that counts as my story. I'm taking it.
What?
No.
I'm taking the point.
No, you go back. That's no cheat. Boo. All right, Steve.
You know what,
can
Jerome?
continue
I got
or
a new
make a
head.
new one. Oh, Matt, beautiful.
Matt, that is a beautiful head.
All right, Steve.
All right. Why do I always have to start the stories? Can I skip? Matt, you go.
It's not what? Oh,
What? That's not how that works.
When?
I'm giving him a redo. Start your new story.
That's not how it works. You can't give him a redo.
Yeah.
Jamba Juice was once made in.
Get off the stage.
get off the stage, you clown!
All right.
Category. Someone else come up with a stupid category. I'm skipping my turn.
All
All right,
right,
Jerome,
fine.
you got this.
Okay. One time, TEWTIY couldn't stop farting. He went to school and he just could not stop uncontrollably farting all over the place. It was so terrible that everyone looked at him with a horrible stare, and they all hated him.
Unfortunately, nobody knew about the tragedy that had befall TEWTIY the following morning. He had himself 3 very, very bad muffins that made his
I
stomach
swear to
very,
God, if you
very,
add Muppets to all these stories, TEWTIY.
very bad. So once he went to the school, he was clearing out the rooms, unfortunately, because his stomach was in such great pain. I mean, it would just... And then everyone was just like, "Oh, TEWTIY, how could you do that to yourself?" I was like, "Sorry, I had some muffins." But little did TEWTIY know, later that following day, the muffins started to do something weird. He started to feel different. It was almost like he was gaining superpowers. He was able to do things he could never do before, like he could get out of bed on the second try, and he started to do CrossFit, and all of a sudden, he decided he wanted to be the President of the United States.
Wow.
But after all that, he realized he had something more important to deal with. He had humiliated himself in school. He thought, how could I solve this? And that's when he thought of it. Pepto-Bismol filled muffins. Yes, a new business for TEWTIY. A new start as president of the country and of Pepto Muffin Corp. He started... yep, that's it, Steve. That's all you get. He started
to make more muffins, the muffin flavors went from Pepto-Bismol flavored to NyQuil flavored and Aleve flavored muffins.
The only problem with the NyQuil flavored ones was that it would make people fall asleep instantly. So people would take them in the mornings on their way to work and then fall asleep before they even got there. It was so sad, and everyone got fired, so TEWTIY basically collapsed the entire economy.
With TEWTIY's plans finally enacted, he finally gathered his polar bear army, which he had been training in Antarctica for many, many years. And with his polar bear army, he started world domination. First, he took over Australia, which was the first place to go. Once then, he got an army of spiders, iguanas, and polar bears. And from there, he went north because he had the rest of his plan, which was
to turn a continent into a muffin. Yes, he needed so much wheat, so much flour, and so much sugar. His plan was to live amongst the muffins. To enact this plan, he needed help, though. So he picked up a new ally, and that ally was...
That ally was Steve. Steve knew so much about muffins that he knew exactly what he needed to do. He needed to make more NyQuil muffins.
But before he could do that, he ate a poison muffin and died. Poor Steve. All right, TEWTIY, I think me and you basically tied on that one because we both made it to the end. So we're gonna do a tiebreaker round. Let's all go back to the beginning. Let's reset the stories. All right, so Steve didn't want to be first anymore because he's trash. So I'm gonna go
Wait a minute,
first.
I thought this was a tiebreaker. Wait, are we in on this?
No, everyone's in on it. It's just it's
okay.
Yeah, we need the variables. You guys are the independent variables.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what happens
exactly.
if one of us... Never mind.
All right. There once was a crazy...
Wait, Jerome, what if we did a tiebreaker round where it's literally, it just jumps between you and I super duper fast back and forth, and we just have to keep the story going as quickly as possible?
Oh, God, I'm down.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
you ready? Here we
Yeah.
go.
I'm
3,
the ref for
2...
TEWTIY, Steve.
Hold on.
Yeah, you guys are the referees.
Before this
so.
happens, you guys get into game mode, not into creative, and if you mess up, we're gonna punch you off.
Ooh.
So you can't mess up at all. First one to mess up is off.
Yeah.
That's it?
Okay.
So Matt, help me break these barrier blocks.
So if you mess up, you have to go back to the start. Set your spawn point, Jerome.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
you just have to hope
This-
the other person that messes up too.
Oh, this is gonna be horrible. All right, TEWTIY, the first ever turbo sudden death round. Let's go. There
Let's
once
do
was
this,
a mad
Jerome.
scientist named Steven.
And Steven was such a brilliant scientist, he tried to create the world's biggest muffin.
The problem with the world's biggest muffin was that it would take up way too much space. I mean, his factory was too small for that.
So he decided to build an even bigger factory, but unfortunately he ran out of material. So instead of using muffins, he used...
Glue. Lots and lots of glue.
Unfortunately, what he didn't know was using so much glue in such a hot temperature started to melt the glue. The glue melted around the entire structure and brought it all down upon his muffin factory, creating the most chewy muffins ever. But that gave him a great idea. He could use the muffins in order to take over the world, but unfortunately, before he could do that, he needed
a way to get it over to the masses, so he started a marketing plan. What he decided was to do a nice old pun and called it Glue-Ton Muffins. So they're gluten-free muffins. Get it? Gluetun, and I'm going to see myself out because that was a bad pun.
That was a beautiful pun. I absolutely love it.
love
But
that.
unfortunately, once she got there and once he started throwing out all the muffins, he realized something terrible. The glue in the muffin was actually making people really, really spicy. For some reason, the muffins were just super spicy. I don't know why that would make sense, but for some reason, they just seemed really, really spicy. So unfortunately, he tried to counteract it by adding ice cream into the muffins themselves to make an ice cream sandwich muffin thing. And then once he sent out those hybrid of muffins, he did his best. But unfortunately, the sandwiches in the same production line they were trying to do got the ice cream as well. So we started making ice cream sandwiches. But unfortunately, because of the ice cream sandwiches coming out, the stock started to plummet because nobody wanted actual sandwiches made out of ice cream. So once he did is he moved over to Antarctica and he started a farm because he ran out of money and his company failed. So once he started the farm, he started growing weird exotic plants for berries and he tried to mix and match berries. So the newest berry that he created was a...
Pizza berry. That's right. It tasted just like pizza and it looked like pizza. The only difference was it was not pizza. It was in fact a berry. Now, it was a great berry. It tasted amazing. The only problem with it is that it gave people severe diarrhea. Diarrhea that lasted 17 days straight. Now, of course, it was so hypnotizingly good, people would continue to eat the pizza berry despite all the poop stains on their clothing.
This created a world outbreak, and unfortunately, everyone was battling, trying to survive against the diarrhea-infested world. But the berries, they were so good, so delicious.
What just happened?
He had to come up with a plan. He needed to make a brand new berry. But what would the berry do? What would it take? He had no idea. He had to start somewhere. He went on a grand quest up to the top of the mountain to find the wise old man. Once he found the wise old man said...
The wise old man told him that he needed to go ahead and go completely in the opposite direction of where he came. He wasted all those years climbing to the top of the mountain only to discover that it was a waste of time. So he went all the way back to the original factory where he started it all, and he started to do research again, back in his home roots. And what he found was that the glue that was causing all the problems at the beginning was actually the solution from the very start.
So he gathered all the glue and brought it back to his original hometown, where he started to make pizza blueberries. And he was really working on trying to make blueberries and pizza berries at the same time. But once he started to release it, there was something happened. Something beautiful, something wonderful. Everybody started to get better, but different. People started to go hungry, crazy, different. The streets now filled with people craving these berries, craving everything. They started to go mad with power. He had no idea what to do. He had to find a cure. So in order to find a cure, he went
all the way to the moon, and then he angered the aliens that live on the moon. So then the aliens started to attack.
But what they didn't know was the aliens were actually very, very sick towards his berries. So he created his very own berry gun that shot pizza blueberries at them, and once they hit him, it disintegrated the aliens. But unfortunately, he started a war with the aliens. But what could he do? He needed to save his home planet. He needed to save the world. What was he going to do? Fight an entire alien race against himself with just blueberry guns? He couldn't do it. He needed help. He needed a friend. He needed somebody on the inside. He needed a spy. How could he do it? He had no idea. The first place he started to look was...
The first place he started to look was the sewers, because that's where he knew that his best pal Matt lived. Now, Matt was a shapeshifter, so Matt would always shapeshift into the sewers and pretend to be a rat down there. But for this time, he was going to save the world and pretend to be an alien. So he dressed up just like the aliens, and then he started to create the pizza blueberry nuclear device, which he planted on one of the main alien ships.
Unfortunately, what he didn't know, Matt was a double agent and working for the alien race the whole time. Jerome had been deceived, and he was very, very upset. He needed to survive. He needed to win. But what did Jerome have to do next?
We also forgot about the part where Steve changed his name to Jerome mid-story, but that's okay. So Jerome, now with his brand new name and brand new plan...
All right, this tiebreaker's never going to happen. You guys
no,
win again.
Matt, no, don't do it, Matt! Matt, it's okay with you! Come on, let's tell the story! Matt, you know what you're doing! Matt!
And they lived happily ever after.
The end.